I've been on a high for 17 years. I've been playing basketball at a peak that not very many people be able to do. So I enjoyed it. I just didn't like the injuries that I had, but that goes with the territory. I had one injury I couldn't shake. I've had a lot of injuries throughout the years, but the back situation, I just could not shake it. It feels better now, but it's not going to be 100% ever again. So as far as I'm concerned, I gave my heart, my body, and my soul to the Celtics, and hopefully we can continue to have a good relationship.
What a relationship Larry Bird had with the game of basketball and its fans for the last dozen years. 11 times an All-Star, 3 championships, and of course an Olympic gold medal. In those 3 championship years, incidentally, 3 times the MVP of this league. Larry Bird, as you might know by now, announced at high noon in Boston that he was retiring from the game of basketball. In a few moments, we'll be joined by the man who had to cover Larry Bird in all those wars with the Laker years. That's Michael Cooper, the man for whom Larry Bird said was the best defender ever in the game. We'll talk to Michael Cooper about that. Before we do, let's go back in our files and look at a piece we did some 6 years ago that says everything you need to know, we think, about the game that Larry Bird played. In a word, it can be summed up with one: work. This is a story about hard work, about good work, about the love of work. The effort that can result in a personal evolution, a realization of the American dream. You see, Americans love to work mostly. They'll get up at any hour and stay up till any hour in pursuit of something that may transcend dollars and cents. They're pursuing a feeling of doing something well, a finished composition, and a fulfillment through that work. It is at the core of any success, as it is here.
The double team in Bird. Larry, fake, fall away.
Hits it at the buzzer! All right!
Williams to Bird again. Up fakes. Fires another three-pointer.
Oh! Ties it up!
Work is what Larry Joe Bird loves. Not celebrity, not money, though he has both in surplus. And it really hasn't been any other way since he grew up dribbling a basketball through the hilly streets of French Lick, Indiana, population 2,500. He grew up in a struggling family of 8. His mother, Georgia, waitress to make ends meet. His father, Joe, an alcoholic, committed suicide at about the time Larry graduated high school. It was about this time when Larry Bird quietly developed his sense of self-reliance, of determination, a near obsessive demand to succeed at the one thing he loved most in his life: basketball. Larry Bird once signed to play college basketball in Indiana for Bobby Knight. It didn't last very long. He was traumatized by the big-time Bloomington campus, not because he didn't think he could play, but because Larry didn't think he could fit. He didn't dress right, he didn't talk right, he couldn't cope. That was a dozen years ago. Today, Larry Bird's on-court arrogance, his belief that he is the best, filters down to his lifestyle. He accepted one of his 3 MVP trophies wearing a bowling shirt. He's independent enough to say the hell with it, says Bob Cousy. Today, despite his $2 million annual salary, Larry Bird doesn't own a fur coat or a mansion or a sports car. After his career is over, says teammate Danny Ainge, Larry will probably buy a tractor. One Boston writer says, when his last game is played, Larry Bird will be out of Boston so fast, all you'll see is the exhaust fumes.
Larry Bird has just made his appearance. Listen to the crowd.
Okay, we also would like to thank you as a team for supporting us throughout the year. It's been a great honor to be out here. There's only one place I'd rather be, French Lick. Thank you.
It's not just his gifts that impress you, it's really his focus, his commitment. Larry Bird will work on a three-point shot 2.5 hours before every game. He won the three-point competition at the 1985 All-Star Game by hitting 11 straight shots. I'm the new three-point king, he would say later, and the ones that don't think so can go to hell. What is the quality of athletic genius? Mere talent alone isn't enough. It has little to do with good fortune, and confidence Well, that's only a part of it. For all of the platitudes and hyperbole, all that really makes the difference is a persistence in the work. It is in practice. For one man, the most complete player in the game since Oscar Robertson, it is a universal truth. It is the only way Larry Bird ever got to be Larry Bird.
The best defensive player ever guarded me was Michael Cooper. I'll take that to my grave with me. He was a very intelligent defensive player. He was very focused, and it was great to play against him because I was at a level, at that time I thought I was playing some great basketball, and he was able to guard me pretty well.
Earlier today, Larry Bird, at his retirement, announcing that the best defensive player ever played against was the man we're about to meet again, Michael Cooper. Good to see you, Coop.
Nice to be here, Ron.
12 years, just like Larry, and there were some great, great wars. First of all, how do you feel about that? That's a great compliment on his retirement day to mention you.
That is. It came to as a shock to me to hear that. I was just going into the office today, and the people there were telling me, "Mike, did you know Larry retired?" And I had thought that this was probably going to come about simply because of his back problems, and Larry being the competitor that he is, if he wasn't willing to give 100%, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to give it at all.
He could have taken the check. He's certainly entitled to take the check, the guaranteed money for another year. He could have said, maybe I'll try to play one every couple of games, or go through the motions, have his farewell tour. Could have had $7 million in the bank, but he refused. That says something about Larry Bird, too.
That's not the type of person or player Larry is to just take things. I think, in a sense, he wants to feel like he's earned them, and obviously he's had an excellent career, and he definitely earns the accolades as far as going around the league and getting send-off. But Larry's a simple guy, and he likes to keep things very, very simple, and this is his way of doing that.
Earlier at the press conference today, Red Auerbach, the president of the Celtics, the man who first originally signed Larry Bird, talked about the first time they met. I want you to listen to Red Auerbach talking about that. This is earlier today in Boston at the press conference.
I could go on for hours and tell you about his accomplishments. But I remember 13 years ago when he came here, he looked like a little country bumpkin. But when you talked to him and you looked into his eyes, you knew that you weren't talking to any dummy. He knew what he wanted in life, and he knew what it would take to get there.
I want to ask you about the first time you guys met on the court. I know it wasn't in the college years. It was once you were in the NBA. I think you preceded him by a year or two. Did you have an instinct, and in Indiana State has great legacy there, but you had an instinct that this guy was going to be a great warrior for you personally over the years?
No, I didn't, Roy. At that particular time, I was just taking or playing the game of basketball for the moment, enjoying each game. But I knew that he was going to be a special individual such as Magic, simply the contest that I saw Indiana State and Michigan State go at it, and the type of competitive spirit that he displayed out on the court. And I knew he was going to bring that to the pro game. And when I got a chance to actually play against him, he was bigger than I thought he was, and a lot more competitive than I had given him credit for at that time.
We're going to take a look at some action, some vintage Larry Bird, some of it against the Lakers, I might add. Beyond the obvious skills, it wasn't very fast. He couldn't jump very high. What was it that made him such a compelling player for you, Mike?
Well, he would never give up. He didn't want to quit. He was not a loser. Larry was going to do whatever it took in his power to get a win, whether it be the assist, the score, as you see right there, or the loose ball diving out of bounds for it, or that real tough, hard, aggressive word to his teammates. That's the leadership qualities that Larry provided for his ball club.
We hear all over the years that this guy was a real talker. I want to avoid the phrase trash talker, but he did do some of that too. What did he say on the court when you guys were having your battles?
Larry was not the one to just talk a lot of trash, but the things he would say to you would stick there. If it was just a simple Coop, I'm wear you out this play, or face, or just the way he said things, it made it very hard. Face.
What is
he scored 2 points and in
your face.
He didn't have to go the extra 2 words, he just said face. And you knew he meant business. But Larry was a consummate professional because he would go out there and just play the game. And I think at times, especially I had my differences with Chuck Person, who was a very lively talk out on the floor. I think he gets you into that mode of talking a little bit more.
I was going to say, you reminded me of a story when I was talking about Chuck Person, that Bird apparently was playing one-on-one and just torching him one night. I think he had 35, and as he's shooting the ball, he says to Person, "I'm the greatest player ever out of Indiana." And he says that right to Person as he's shooting, and of course the shot goes in. I mean, that's the kind of great pride he had. What does it mean to be the greatest player ever out of Indiana? A state maybe almost viewed as a country of basketball.
Well, I mean, that's it. You have a lot of great athletes and great basketball being played there. So when you're the best that come out of that means that you're on the top. And Larry had always felt like that, and I'm pretty sure Chuck, for that individual night, knew that he was the greatest.
Yeah. Two other pieces of business. First of all, you're the Celtics now. What do? You have D. Brown, you have Reggie Lewis, you have the future, of course. You have some older players now with Robert Parrish and McHale. How do you fill that incredible void?
Well, it's definitely going to be difficult for him, but I think now a lot of the leadership role will be put on McHale and Parrish's shoulders. I think Reggie Lewis, with his emergence, is becoming a superstar and definitely a go-to player in the Boston situation. Will be asked to stand taller now, and I think they got a good nucleus for a team. The players played extremely well last year in Larry's absence. And then when Larry came back, it was kind of difficult to readjust himself. But still, they got what it takes to get back to the top spot. And I think now they just have to build for that and ask some of the rookies and players that are normally not playing that much to come on.
And lastly, there's this. At the press conference today, Bird was kidding Magic Johnson a little bit. He had a little bit of a prod going on there. Apparently, Magic had said earlier in the press conferences in weeks past that Larry was going to eventually retire this year. And so I want you to listen to what Larry Bird said about Magic and his plans for the future. Here's Larry Bird at the press conference.
You know, of course I'm going to miss competing against Magic, but he wasn't around last year, and I'm going to say today he's coming back next year. He didn't tell me that, but since he got me in trouble, I'm going to get him in trouble.
What do you know?
Irvin will make a statement in a couple of weeks. I think right now, after enjoying the fruits of the gold medal, now is a kind of a late, relaxed period for him. I think he'll get together with his wife and his doctors and with some Laker officials, and I think they'll make a determination then.
Certainly there's an end of an era, though. The Bird Magic era ended today. What do you think basketball will do to hopefully fill that void again for the future? We have some great players on the horizon. The game does move on. Yes, it does.
Oh, it definitely does. You have new exciting players coming in, Shaquille O'Neal, Christian Laettner, Jimmy Jackson, players like that. Then you have the players that are already established with Magic hopefully coming back.
I almost got you there.
Things will be on the uprise, but Michael Jordan's still there, Patrick Ewing, Charles Barkley out in the West, which is going to create some confusion out this way. So it's still going to be an exciting league, but we're going to miss one of the best players that ever played this game.
That is for sure, and Michael Cooper is going to miss one of the great players he's ever played against, too. As you know, probably, he is an assistant to the general manager, Jerry West. Michael Cooper is these days. His duties, Los Angeles Laker franchise. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, Coop. We'll come back. Comedian, former sports writer, too, Robert Wool, an actor. Robert Wool talks about, as a fan, what he'll miss most about the Birdman after this.